gentlemen, welcome to Global Agriculture. This is your host, Dr. Selim Sulay, physician, entrepreneur, venture architect, co-founder of Afroturk TV and Afroturk Agro TV. I am so excited to host Zeki Güvercin. He is a true leader and creating also agricultural diplomacy across Africa and between Turkey and Africa. And we have an amazing news. May 19th through May 25th, he has led a very critical delegation over the 6 days in Morocco. He actually was in Marrakesh as well as Agadir, and he brought at least 12 West African countries together and created not just bilateral agreements between Turkey and Morocco, but also different trilateral agreements across countries, focusing on strengthening Africa in agriculture. Zeki Güvercin, welcome to Global Agriculture.
Thank you very much for this broadcast. And as you said, it was very important for us because as a partner of this very important summit, we had a broadcast just before our summit, and now after, it's an occasion to speak about it and
Absolutely.
How it was.
So you have done it. You went before, you analyzed, you have done 2 very important summits in Turkey, and you decided to do the 3rd one in Morocco, in North Africa and West Africa, and especially focused on our West African brothers and sisters. Tell me, how was the 3rd summit continued in Morocco? How was the participation? I heard there was a really broad participation, and as a key area of West Africa, Morocco, what were the take-home messages from the 3rd summit that was held in Morocco, in Marrakesh as well as in Agadir?
Yes, the summit, of course, was important for us because after 2 summits in Turkey, we decided that an African agriculture and agro-food summit has not to be only in Turkey. Of course, we have to be in Africa. And it was our first summit in Africa, after 2 in Turkey, and now we have decided to do 1 in Turkey and 1 in Africa each year. That means
that's amazing. So this is the final news.
Yes.
1 in Turkey, 1 in
Yes.
Africa, 1 in Turkey. So
yes, and
excellent.
we have some candidates for the 5th one already.
It's like World Olympics. Now they want agricultural Olympics done in their own countries.
Yes, of course, and it's very.
Or own cities. Yeah.
What's important for us is that they ask for it, and it's 3 countries asked, but we are going to
select one
to decide altogether. Morocco. We decided about Morocco because Morocco, of course, is a very important agricultural country with lots of agricultural lands, and also exporting countries, especially to Europe. They have specific agreements with Europe, and at the same time, it's a launchpad for companies who want to develop, especially in West Africa. And we choose not to go to Casablanca or cities, industrial cities, but to especially Agadir, where 80% of agricultural production of Morocco is exported from the port of Agadir. Wow. And also Agadir people are really willing to develop. There are many big projects about infrastructure because, as you know, Morocco is going to host World Cup and African Cup.
Yes.
Both are very important organizations.
Huge.
So the high-speed train is being built between Casablanca and Agadir. Yes. And also they have the big green Morocco project that the Moroccan government is implementing. So we had a lot of arguments for doing it there. And
they're connecting blue with green. They have technoparks. Right?
Yes.
Really a model.
Yes. Also, there are big Turkish investments about agriculture, agro-food, about seeds, and participation. Also, participating countries had relationship, of course.
Which countries were in attendance?
We had 11 countries, West African countries, really from nice. Niger to, of course, Togo, Benin, Cameroon, Senegal, Mali, Burkina. So all the important countries of West Africa were there, But participants were mainly agriculture chambers, agriculture federations,
The real related
and private,
entities.
private sector of these countries. We began the program in Marrakesh because Marrakesh is both touristic and also agriculture region. And after we had 2 days in Agadir, lots of meetings with chambers, with, for instance, argan production centers.
Yes.
We visited the factories, and we have seen how it works. In fact, it's important to see how they work. Of course, big part was about water, irrigation. Companies there presented us their new technologies about water treatment, about how they work with agriculture and farmers to develop new ways of water treatment. And all, of course, we had a lot of also dinners, food degustations, because it's general problem in our delegations. We don't take time to see the culture, the food, and to live all this with them. This is one of the main issues.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
We did. And also, of course, our ambassador and trade attaché and CGM, local biggest businessman association, was part of it, so they gave us many informations. And as I said, there were agreements between African countries.
That's huge.
They signed MOUs.
Before coming to it, I mean, Morocco, you chose Morocco and West Africa. I mean, you could have started from East Africa, from South or Mid. Why did you choose Morocco and West Africa? Is it because of the strategic location and infrastructure? What are some of the reasons you have chosen?
West Africa is about agriculture, is the main place, because about, of course, animal production, livestock, about agriculture, and also one of the main exporting zone, because as we speak of Morocco, but not only, for instance, Mauritania is exporting lots of fish to all Europe. East Africa is more Asian turned.
I see.
Middle East and Asian turned for geographic reasons.
Gotcha.
It's now and for historical reasons. But West Africa, from Democratic Congo to North Africa, all this region is more open to us, to Europe, and to other to Western countries, for historical reasons, and also we are member of agreements, common agreements with these countries. Historically, we have North Africa, of course, is for us. For Turkey, historically,
with African Union or more of Africa, country by country, the agreements.
West Africa, as East Africa, have their own regional unions, entities, monetary entities, of course, policies, etc. Of course, they have also linguistic organizations. They speak mainly French.
Sure.
But if you want to have real business, they speak their own language in each region. You can see it everywhere, even in Morocco, because they will speak, of course, Darija, and it can be
the local language.
Of course, it's very, very important. But to go back to the summit, the agri-sector, agriculture is the main vector of development for our relation with this region. We have seen it. Because in many fields now we have reached a critical level. It will be very hard because, in fact, with Morocco we have $5 billion bilateral trade. If you want to go ahead, agriculture is one of the main potential sectors where we can develop new $1 or $2 billion.
So agriculture is the key in Turkey-Morocco free trade agreement now, is that
of course,
correct?
And last week, of course, there were the negotiations about it, and because historically we negotiated for industrial. The main topic was industrial products in this free trade agreements, but now we have seen they realized agriculture was very important also.
It's interesting to see during these, wars or between countries using tariffs. we are focusing on creating free trade agreements and using agriculture as a key element between Turkey and Morocco.
Yes.
I think this is a huge success. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I think we have now we began a real dynamic between also Morocco, but West
Yes.
Africa also. And as we spoke just before, creating agriculture industrial zones, special training centers, and also making agriculture diplomacy one of the main topic will bring us to very new things because
Agreed.
in fact agriculture, agro-food is linked with machinery, is linked with energy. If you want to develop in energy sectors in these countries, you have to go through agriculture.
I see.
Because if you want to hydroelectric central, if you want to build them, for instance, it will be through agricultural projects because they need land. As I told about Mali, if you want to be able to use more than 90% of the non-used land, then you can say, okay, we will bring, Mali is not very good because they don't have water, but for some countries, then you can say for Congo, for instance, Democratic Congo,
Yes.
In Kisangani, they have electricity only 3 days per week. And there is the world's most important water river, the Congo River is there. So in only with one branch of the river, you can have electricity for 3 cities. But someone has to do it, explain it and do it for agriculture.
Very nice.
But once it is done for agriculture, just energy you can sell also. And you can use for industry, you can use for, of course, cities, electricity, etc.
And how to use the irrigation, the right way of irrigation, right?
Of course.
Not just using the water because you have it.
Of course. You know, most of the water is wasted when you look, because in these regions there are really, mining is very, very important. There is a lot of diamond, gold, etc. So people sometimes even will not use the water. Water will be wasted. Instead, we can see even in Turkey now, in rural zones, lots of water is wasted because people don't want to do farming anymore. But in this region, you can see it very more accurately. And if it was done, then I think the whole region will be, because we speak about development, okay, especially international institutions speak about help, aid for development, etc., etc. But in fact, when you look, the main issue is not treated. That means if you have 90% of countries' land not used, the main help is to make it used and to make these people independent for food. It's the basics for a country. But in fact, it's not the real will. The real will is to give money and take resources.
I see.
It's not the country's, of course, health that is, the main aim is not this.
I mean, it all starts with good intention, like you said, agriculture diplomacy. So let me get your final words on why the third summit in Morocco was successful and what were the outcomes that you're proud of?
The main issue is that we did it in Africa, the first one. It was very important for us. And we saw the real interest, and we made that people, the whole delegation, got information and knowledge and technology about water, about production, about machinery.
Amazing.
And practically all the countries also during the next summit in Turkey will be more, I think, willing to cooperate, because we brought it to Africa with our knowledge, with our companies, but with all partners. And also, it was very important that we had this women business associations with us.
Connecting ladies.
Huge we
success.
connected ladies from Africa and Turkey.
That's amazing.
And the half of delegation was women, half was men. So
that's what our first lady is also focusing on, right?
Of course.
With President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Her Excellency Emine Erdoğan are the most visited people in Africa, and she specifically pays huge attention to empowering women through giving them opportunity to do work, handmade crafting.
And she is especially working about sustainable development, about green economy. So all these issues,
zero waste,
all these issues are very important for Africa.
Absolutely.
And as you know, she has a book about African cuisine that
Amazing.
is very important.
Yes.
Cuisine is culture is very important, because if you want to link people, they have to know each other's identity and all details.
We show that cuisine book, and we, through our readers, we read them loudly and able to show it also, not just the book but the content through our TV channel, just to make it more lively.
It's very important. That's why we were happy to do this in Morocco with all African countries' participation, Turkey participating, of course, and our ambassador had a very important speech about why it was important, and he's a very active man.
We convey our regards to our ambassador as well.
Yes, his support was very important for us. And in next summit, of course, African ambassadors in Ankara, we had meetings with them yesterday and today in Ankara. We want them to be very actively involved with projects. That means all we speak now, and it's very important that we speak about it today with you now, because your broadcast in Africa and also in Turkey will be very important to create this agriculture diplomacy electroshock.
Absolutely.
That means this message is very important, and through your TV, this message will go to Africa and Turkey, and will bring a new dynamic to all the ecosystem.
I agree.
And this ecosystem will bring us to success.
It will be a win-win partnership for our African brothers and sisters in Turkey. Thank you very much, Zeki Güvercin. In our next episode, I want to talk about the 4th and 5th, your plans in more detail, if you don't mind.
Of course.
So with that, I want to thank you again on behalf of our TV channel.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zeki Güvercin has talked about the very successful food and agriculture summit that has been done in Morocco, May 19th to 25th, and the take-home messages, including the woman connection across Turkey and Africa, and also bilateral agreements across 2 countries, 3 countries, and as well as Turkey, and a clear message to enhance this in our 4th one, which will happen in Konya. So please stay tuned. In our next episode, we will talk with Zeki Güvercin about the future plans of agriculture diplomacy and opportunities for our African brothers and sisters. Thank you very much. This is your host, Dr. Selim Salai. Stay tuned to AfroTurk Agro TV. Bye.